You are not bad with money. You are obedient to a set of rules nobody ever told you about, and you have been following them so faithfully that the results look like a personality. Let me describe you, and you tell me if it stings. You get paid, and for about 3 days, you feel rich. You buy the round. You upgrade the order. You tell yourself you deserve it, and you do, but that is not why you are doing it. By the end of the month, the account is thin again, and you have no idea where it went. You check your balance the way some people check a wound, fast, wincing, then looking away. You know roughly what you spend, the way you know roughly how many calories are in a slice of pizza, which is to say you have chosen not to know. You have started budgets, plural. You have downloaded the app, color-coded the spreadsheet, felt a clean little rush of control, and then quietly stopped opening it around day 11. You are not lazy. You run marathons of effort in other parts of your life. But money makes you tired in a specific way, a heavy, foggy, I will deal with it later way, and nobody can quite explain why a bank statement can make a grown adult want to lie down. Here is the first thing nobody will tell you. Being bad with money is almost never about math. If it were about math, the smartest people would be the richest, and you have met enough broke geniuses and wealthy fools to know that is a lie. Money behavior is not run by the calculator part of your brain. It is run by a set of beliefs you absorbed before you could spell the word money. Psychologists call them money scripts. They are the invisible instructions you inherited, and you are still executing them like an old program nobody updated. Let me show you where they came from, because once you see the source, the behavior stops looking like a flaw and starts looking like a logical result. Think about how money was handled in the house you grew up in. Not what they said, what they did. The face your parent made when a bill arrived. Whether money was discussed openly or whispered about behind a closed door like an illness. Whether there was always a quiet tension on a Sunday night, or a sudden splurge after a hard week, or a freeze that came over the room the second you asked for something at the store. You did not learn money from a class. There was no class. You learned it from atmosphere. You were a small child running emotional surveillance on the most important people in your world, and you concluded, correctly for a 5-year-old, that money was the thing that made the adults tense, or sad, or suddenly generous, or silent. You did not learn the facts of money. You learned the feeling of money, and the feeling is what is still driving. There are 4 of these scripts, and you are probably carrying at least 2 of them right now without knowing their names. The first is money avoidance. This is the belief, buried deep, that money is bad, that rich people are greedy, that wanting more is shameful, that good people do not obsess over cash. If you grew up hearing we do not talk about money, or that asking for a raise is rude, or that wealthy people must have done something dirty to get there, you absorbed it. And here is the trap. If somewhere inside you money is dirty, you will unconsciously get rid of it to stay clean. You will sabotage the raise. You will undercharge. You will feel a strange relief when the account is empty, because empty feels honest. You are not bad with money. You are loyal to a belief that money makes you a worse person, and you keep proving yourself right. The second is money worship. This is the belief that more money will fix everything, that the day the number is big enough, the anxiety stops, the marriage heals, the emptiness fills. People with this script are often hard workers and big earners, and they are still broke because no amount is ever the amount. There is always a nicer version, a next tier, a thing the neighbor has. If you grew up watching adults chase money as if it were oxygen, or grew up without it and swore you would never feel that way again, you may worship it. And the cruel part is that worship and spending live in the same house. You buy the upgrade because on some level, you believe the object carries the peace. It never does. The box gets opened, the feeling evaporates, and you are already scrolling for the next one. The third is money status. This is the belief that your worth is your net worth, that what you own is who you are. This is the script that makes you buy the car you cannot afford to park outside the house. You cannot afford, so that strangers at a red light think a thought about you that you will never hear. If you grew up being judged by what you had, or watched your family stretch to look richer than they were, status got wired straight into your sense of self. And status spending is the most expensive habit on earth because it has no ceiling. There is always someone with more. You are not shallow. You are running a script that says if you stop performing wealth, you stop being worth anything, and that is a terrifying thing to test. The fourth is money vigilance. This one looks like the healthy one, and mostly it is, but taken too far, it becomes its own prison. These are the people who save obsessively, who feel guilt the moment they spend, who have plenty and still cannot sleep because the number could always be higher. If you grew up in genuine scarcity, where money disappeared without warning, your nervous system learned that safety is never finished. So you hoard, and you flinch at small purchases, and you never let yourself enjoy a single thing you worked for. That is not discipline. That is fear wearing discipline as a costume. Now here is the part that should make the back of your neck prickle. You did not choose any of these. You were handed them. And the people who handed them to you got them handed down too. Your parents were running scripts written by their parents, who were shaped by a war, or a depression, or an immigration, or a divorce, or a single terrifying year when the money ran out and nobody talked about it ever again. You are the latest carrier of a belief that might be 80 years old and might have nothing to do with your actual life. That is the hidden driver. Not weakness, not stupidity. Inheritance. You are spending according to instructions written for a world that no longer exists, by people who are not in the room, and you have never once read the instructions out loud. Let me tell you what this is costing you, because this is the part that should sting more than the spending itself. It is not just the money, it is the decades. A money script does not cost you one bad purchase. It costs you the same bad purchase repeated for 30 years. The avoider gives away earning power across an entire career and calls it humility. The worshipper buys their way through a lifetime, chasing a feeling that retreats every time they get close. The status seeker funds the opinion of strangers and arrives at 60 with a great car and no foundation. The over-vigilant one dies with a full account and an empty memory, having never once let themselves taste the life the money was supposed to buy. And the worst cost is the one you cannot see on any statement. It is the shame. Every time you fail at a budget, every time the account runs dry, you do not say, "My inherited script is firing again." You say, "I am bad with money." You make it a fact about your character. And shame is the perfect fuel for the loop, because shame makes you look away, and looking away is exactly what keeps the script running in the dark. The belief survives because you are too embarrassed to turn the light on. Nobody will tell you this, so I will. The reason willpower has not fixed your money is that willpower is the wrong tool. You cannot out-discipline a belief. You can white-knuckle a budget for 3 weeks, but the belief is patient, and the belief was there first, and the belief will wait until you are tired and then quietly take the wheel again. That is why every January resolution dies by February. You were treating a symptom, and the cause was untouched. So here is the way out, and it is not an app. The first move is to name your script out loud. Sit down and finish this sentence honestly. Money is S. Whatever falls out of your mouth first is the program. Money is dirty. Money is freedom. Money is never enough. Money is how they judge me. Money is something I have to protect, or I will not survive. That sentence is the most expensive sentence in your life, and most people go to the grave never having said it once. The second move is to trace it back. Ask yourself where you first felt that feeling about money, not learned, felt. You will almost always land on a specific scene from childhood, a specific face, a specific Sunday night. When you find it, something loosens, because you finally see that the belief belongs to that moment, to those people, to that fear. It does not belong to you. It was a hand-me-down, and you are allowed to return it. The third move is to ask one brutal question of every money rule you live by. Is this true for me now with my actual life, or am I obeying a ghost? The fear of spending that made sense when your family had nothing does not make sense when you have a stable income and a full account. The compulsion to look rich made sense to a kid being judged in a playground and makes no sense to an adult drowning in payments for an audience that is not watching. When you separate the rule from the dead situation that created it, you get to choose for the first time in your life. And the fourth move is the quiet one. You write a new script on purpose, not a budget. A sentence. Money is a tool I use on purpose. Money is allowed to make me feel safe without making me feel small. Money is something I am finally going to look at instead of away from. You will not believe it at first. That is fine. You did not believe the old script either when it was handed to you. You just heard it enough times that it became true. Repetition wrote the old one, and repetition will write the new one. Here is the peak, the thing I want you to carry out of here. You are not bad with money. You are excellent at money. You are flawlessly, relentlessly good at executing a program you were handed before you could read. Every empty account, every panic save, every status purchase, every avoided statement is proof of how obedient you have been to instructions you never agreed to. The problem was never your ability. The problem was the code. And code can be rewritten, not by trying harder, by looking at the thing you have spent your whole life looking away from, saying its name out loud, and deciding, as an adult, in a world the ghost never lived in, that you get to write the next line yourself. You were never bad with money. You were just never told that the rules were optional. Now you know. The next move is yours.